It's Wednesday, and we're in here. Hump Day, hottest show on the streets, giving you the number one form of Bama football news. Number one show on your YouTube channel. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have each and every last one of you in here. This time around next week, we're talking spring football. We'll be here for the Crimson Tide. Everybody excited about that. Also, Alabama men's basketball preparing to go to Nashville, Tennessee for the SEC tournament. A lot of excitement there. Also, next week will be the new year for the NFL, where contracts, deals, franchise tagging, all of that is concerned. But we got you right here, rocking and rolling on the number one forum for Bama football news. The show streaming to you through YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, give a thumbs up, like the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, updates, and alerts on your program, The Crimson Tide. We're not only streaming you the show through YouTube, we got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well. All forms of social media locked, loaded, and ready to go, giving you, the fans, the best in Alabama football news. We're brought to you by weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. So go ahead right now if you haven't done so. Copy that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and the pageantry, the tradition of owning and or dominating the fourth quarter. Gotta make a birthday shout out right now, as today is the birthday of the founder, owner, and CEO of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, our own Benny Bias III. Happy birthday to Ben, and just the support that he's given us, the love that he's given us in making this company, making this brand, making his dreams a reality, and for including myself and John and so many of us to be a part of giving you, the fans, the utmost best in Alabama football. Happy birthday to our own Benny Bias III, founder, CEO of TDA. Hopefully he is enjoying his day. Gotta give a shout out to my man Waylon Colburn, dropping that $9.99 via the super chats, getting started early here on the show. Appreciate that donation coming from our own Waylon. As always, Tide Nation, the daily super chat go, $75 daily super chat go. You guys have been outstanding, helping us out here. Appreciate the love, the passion, the joy that you give us here on the show. A little bit later on the show, we'll be joined live by Kyle Edwards, former Alabama quarterback. Played from 2016 to 2018 and 2019. He was a student assistant helping out Steve Sarkisian with the quarterback. So having Kyle Edwards on the show, he's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight, a lot of intel on the quarterback race between Paul Tyson, Bryce Young, Jalen Milroe thrown in there also. But he's got a lot to talk about. He's got a lot to dive into in discussing Bryce Young and Paul Tyson. So people, you don't want to miss it. You're a diehard Bama fan. You're a diehard person in terms of the quarterback conversation, the quarterback battle. You do not want to miss the interview with myself and Kyle Edwards, former Alabama quarterback. Guys, shout out my man John Ivory one time in the production studio doing his thing. And we want you guys being a part of tonight's show. Want to hear from you. 205-448-1358. That's the number to let your voice be heard tonight. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Making this your show and discussing your University of Alabama Crimson Tide. But before we jump into topic one of the conversation, a little bit of an update here. I mentioned next week it will be the new year for the NFL when you discuss deals being done, contracts being upgraded, contracts being renewed. Also when you talk franchise tag, if you're going to cut a player or keep a player, next week will be the new year in the National Football League. And for one former Alabama player, in particular one Cam Robinson, former offensive tackle, played from 2014 to 2016 at Alabama, three-time SEC champion, a national champion in 2015, a consensus All-American, Outland Trophy winner, just a big deal at Alabama. Cam Robinson entering his fifth season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the team will not have him hit the open market. The Jaguars are franchise tagging Cam Robinson. Now, if he would have chosen to hit the market, he could have been one of the biggest tackles on the market as a free agent, but the Jaguars have franchise tagged him just due to it has the number one overall pick, which means it's going to take Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback out of Clemson. Need to have somebody protecting his backside, so Jacksonville will hold on to Cam Robinson at least throughout the 2021 season. But diving into topic number one here of the conversation, as we are continuing the topics of breaking down positional units for spring football and also answering the comments that I'm going to be answering the comments that you dropped into a question that I had on Twitter going back to Sunday, with it being, next week, spring ball. What are you excited about? What are you amped up about, juiced up about, pumped up about in discussing the Crimson Tide in spring ball here? So, topic of conversation right here. This is going to be a very important, very fun, very exciting spring for David Ballou and Matt Rhea, Dr. Matt Rhea, the strength staff here to the University of Alabama. Now, upon Nick Saban calling it a career for the Crimson Tide, when Nick Saban gets ready to hang it up, we don't know when that will be, but when Nick Saban looks over at his wife, Miss Terry, and he goes, "Baby, I think now is time for us to exit stage left," Nick Saban will have two dynasties. He'll have two separate runs of multiple national championships. And while the first dynasty will be talked about ad nauseum when you look at the players that he coached, the Julio Joneses, the A.J. McCarrons, the Mark Ingrams, Trent Richardsons, Donta Hightower, C.J. Mosleys, Minka Fitzpatrick's, Amari Cooper's, the litany of players and coaches he had in the first dynasty, that will be talked about at will. I feel like the bells and whistles, the wow moments, will have more of a focus on Saban's second dynasty based on two names, David Ballou and Dr. Matt Rhea. They have really, literally taken the game by storm. They have literally, really become the two most favorite coaches on the coaching staff. You, the fans, are in love with them. The players are in love with them. Everybody is engulfed over the greatness that they have brought in terms of sports medicine, sports science, injury prevention, all of these things to quote-unquote make and or craft the perfect athlete. And the reason why I say this is I had a conversation last week with Dr. Lau Kane. Dr. Lau Kane, who is the head physician here, the head team doctor for the Crimson Tide. He is on staff at the Andrews Sports Performance, or the Andrews Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center here in Birmingham. Dr. Kane has serviced the University of Alabama athletics for 20 years. He's been a big part and a critical part of Saban's national championship run for the Crimson Tide. And in the interview, the conversation I had with Dr. Kane, one of the first questions, one of the first thoughts that I brought up to him was, what was the biggest difference between what was the biggest difference between last year's Alabama team and the Crimson Tide teams that took the field 2017 to 2019? Because there was a 3-year period before last year where the soft tissue injuries hit Alabama like a Mack truck, and Bama couldn't shake it. Like, the soft tissue injuries were the bug that bit Alabama deep, and the Crimson Tide just could not seem to get away from that. And these were not contact injuries. A lot of these were just these flukish, non-contact injuries where players would be going through a drill and they would take one false step and boom, there goes the ACL. Boom, there goes the meniscus. Boom, there goes the knee. Boom, there goes the foot. And, it happened in either running back, linebacker, defensive line, offensive line, at very critical positions. And you as fans were being like, what the heck is going on? Why are we getting hurt? What's up with the injuries? What's up with the mishaps? What the heck is going on? Do we have the bubble wrap players? What's happening at the Alabama football program? And all of these things, most of them stem back to the strength and conditioning program under Scott Cochran at the time. And while we appreciate what Cochran did, while we enjoy what Cochran did, while he did play a big role here where the Crimson Tide is concerned, in talking with Dr. Kane, he said, look, the biggest difference between last season and those 3 years, 2017 to 2019, he said verbatim, we were very fortunate to hire Ballou and Rhea when we did. We were very fortunate. Dr. Kane said, no offense to Scott Cochran. He was good. He was strong. We needed him for his time being. But Rhea and Ballou, these two are different. They are cut from a different cloth. The way they go about their process in terms of the training, the conditioning, the injury prevention, the speed work. They have redirected the catapult system to where players are operating at peak performance. They're getting the right workload, the right balance, the right performance, the right treatment. Everything is synchronized. They have everything tailor-made to each individual player so that each individual player can have the utmost success. Dr. Kane said, I've never seen anything quite like these two. These two are flat out different. The players are bought in, the coaches are bought in. And the reason why I kind of agree to what he said was, I had a conversation with a couple of sources, close sources within the program a while back, and there was visible frustration between Jeff Allen and Scott Cochran. There was a lot of frustration, and the frustration was geared toward Jeff Allen was wondering, are you going to look at the analytics? Are you going to look at the data? Are you going to change your plan? Are you going to alter your process? And Scott Cochran was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If my plan of stretch to it hurt, lift to it hurt, push toward the pain, live for the pain, stretch, pull, lift, go. If my philosophy has gotten us 5 national championships, why change it? Why adjust from it? And it, frustrated Jeff Allen a lot. And now you look at, this is the happiest I've ever seen Jeff Allen do too. You got 2 guys in here that study the analytics, that study the numbers, that study the sports science, if not on the same level as Allen does, maybe even a bit higher than what Jeff Allen does. So it's just unreal what these two have done. And when you look at the players that Ballou and Rhea have helped out, have made special, Mac Jones had a big year. And part of that big year, Ballou and Rhea. Najee Harris worked with Dr. Rhea where the speed is concerned. Devontae Smith, big year because of Matt Rhea, David Ballou. Evan Neal, same thing with the offensive line. Big year. Why? To help David Ballou, Dr. Matt Rhea. You look at defensively, Will Anderson had a monster year. Why? David Ballou, Dr. Matt Rhea. Malachi Moore, the same deal. Chris Allen, first year back healthy for the first time since 2017. Why? The help of David Ballou, Dr. Matt Rhea. Will Reichert had the perfect season as a kicker. Why? David Ballou, Dr. Matt Rhea. And this is due to both of these guys not even getting a spring to work with the team. Now they're going to get a full spring uninterrupted to work with every single player, on this team where their expertise is involved in. What I'm excited about is, can Ballou and Rhea get this group through a whole spring, their first spring, no injuries? This is going to be really, really awesome if they can get this done. Because like I mentioned, these two are trying to kick off the second dynasty of Coach Saban, starting off with this spring. I remember when Alabama lost Scott Cochran, a lot of people were saying, this is the straw that's broke the camel's back. This is the thing that's going to hurt Alabama. At this point, it's become a thing that's enhanced Alabama even more, having Ballou and Rhea in here. I'm excited about what they're going to do this spring. But that takes us to our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started. Upon our return, we get to your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your concerns. Continue to hit that thumbs up, that like button on the show. Hit that subscribe button as well. Turn on those notifications. We're getting you all the Bama news, and we're talking with you, the fans, after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care, in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
we're back getting live, folks, from the break on a Wednesday, hump day, number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show on this evening. Be sure to go ahead and hit that thumbs up on the show, like the show up, hit that subscribe button. Turn all of those notifications on so we can get you the best in Bama football news and coverage. Also, if you want to become a member to TDA on YouTube, you check out the link in the chat line and also in the description. That link will take you step by step into how to become a member to TDA on the YouTube channel. Guys, shout out the man Spencer Reveley one time. That $10 donation helping us out here in the super chats for TDA. That daily super chat goes $75 daily super chat go. You guys have been outstanding. Appreciating Spencer Reveley helping us out here on the show. But right now we get into the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in to let your voice be heard. 205-448-1358. We take our first call. It's my man Waylon. What's going on, man? How you feeling, Waylon?
Ooh, I tell you what, it's Woo Wednesday. I tell you, woo, I'm feeling good tonight. I feel like a nature boy. I'm styling and profiling. Happy birthday, Benny Bias. I tell you what, I'm not having any more birthdays. I don't know when you're going to stop, but I'm going backwards. TDA loves you there. The chat loves you. The chat's looking good. All the people in the cities, towns, countries, and states. I always wish Mr. Bias a happy birthday there. When you get our age, you deserve it. Anyway, these doctors down here at Alabama, I tell you what, I don't know. You know, Scott Cochran was a great man. I enjoyed everything he done. He was a motivator. I like to hear him yell out there on the field at A-Day and at the games. It always sort of pumped me up a little bit. But, Stephen, I think these guys down there now, you know, modern medicine has taken over and sort of passed Mr. Cochran up because he wasn't a physician. So, you know, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, modern medicine is going to work all the time just about.
Absolutely, and I feel like, once again, this is going to kick off the second run of Saban's dynasty, what's already kicked off with the national championship this past season, but having a full spring for the first time with David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray, like, I'm pumped up to see how they take their expertise to another level in making sure that in the spring, no mishaps, no bumps in the road, no injuries where spring football is concerned, because prior to, this past season, a lot of those mishaps that took place in 2017 to 2019, a lot of that happened in spring ball. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ray, Ballou, the medical staff, the strength staff, everybody put their focus together on making sure we get through a whole spring uninterrupted with everybody intact. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's looking good. There's no doubt about these guys going to get it going there. There's no doubt about it. Well, we're at Hump Day here, and I was talking to a buddy of mine out in Palo Alto, California yesterday. He goes by Zenzabill, Zenzabill, on his TikTok and all this modern stuff here we're on. And we were talking there, and he said, wait a minute. I said, what's wrong? He said, the rain's knocking my internet out. I said, what? He said, the rain is knocking my internet out. I said, Zen, you live in Palo Alto, California, and you don't have fiber optic internet? He said, no, I don't live in the city like you do, stacked on top of one another. I opened the door, and I said, hello, Bigfoot. Catch that dog man running across my front yard because he woke me up last night. So I guess I don't live in the city. But anyway, I was going to do a little poem tonight, but I'm going to get it wound up, do a little more with it for Friday, and we'll have a little funny under our belt going into the weekend there. And like I said, happy birthday, Mr. Benny Bias. Everybody in the chat looking good. Hey, you never know what's going to happen Friday. We may have a ball on here. Stephen, y'all looking good. I'll catch everybody on Friday. Be safe on Thursday. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate Waylon calling into the show, getting started here on a Wednesday. We take our next call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Stephen, this is Mike from Kentucky. What's going on, bro?
Mike, doing good, man. Doing fantastic, actually. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Doing real good. I got a bunch of wood cut. Got a new shotgun coming in the mail. I can't wait to get it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm excited for next week, Friday around this time next week, spring ball, freshly cut grass. Let's see what 2021 has in store for the Crimson Tide. And after not having a spring where Ballou and Rhea could do their thing, we're going to get a whole spring with Pinky and the Brain, as I like to call them. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, I think Waylon's right, man. I think modern medicine is kind of the order of the day now. You know, the days of old have gone. And, you know, if you remember, Georgia got dinged up pretty good last spring. So Scott
They
Cochran
did.
They did. They didn't have any continuity. I mean, Kentucky played them tough for a half. Tennessee played them tough for a half, and both teams turned the ball over in the second half, or it would have been close. But maybe he took that injury bug to Georgia with him. Yeah, I'm psyched about this year, Stephen. I mean, every year is just the names and numbers change, but the product remains the same, brother. Superstars.
Absolutely.
It's almost ridiculous at this point.
It's crazy, and just to be able to see this upcoming season where Bryant Denny can be back at full capacity, the campus can be back at full capacity. It's going to be nice for it's going to be nice for the players, nice for the fans and the coaches. But appreciate Mike from Kentucky calling in, talking some football with us here on the show. We take our next call of the evening. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, Steven, man, what's going on, man? This is Kyle from over here in Georgia. What's going on?
Kyle from Georgia, man. What's happening? What's on your mind right now?
Man, I'm just wanting to know. I want to know about this the QB battle that's going to happen this spring, and the wide receiver. You know, the number one spot's going to go to John Mechie. Who's going to be number two? I know Slade Bolden had a pretty good year. We got a tight end, Jahiel Billingsley, that come in there and stepped up this year. But what's the quarterback battle looking like?
So for the quarterback battle right now, we're still in that fourth quarter program. It will end as of next week, because spring practice happens next week. We're actually going to have, Kyle, my man Kyle Edwards, former Bama quarterback. He's coming on in the next segment to talk about this quarterback competition, because he was around Jalen, Tua, Mac Jones, Paul Tyson. Knows a lot about Bryce Young, so going to be a great conversation with Kyle Edwards and myself. But you got three guys that are really gunning, pulling for this job, and whoever gets it, you got Bill O'Brien, who's got a lot of experience working with quarterbacks, so that's going to be fun. I would like to see what Paul Tyson does, absolutely, but at the same time, I know the talent that Bryce Young brings to the table, and right now, coming from the fourth quarter program, I'm hearing that Jalen Milroe is kicking up some steam too. So you got three guys in a full-on fight. Yeah, Jalen Milroe, the freshman from Texas, I'm hearing from inside the program, the young man is kicking up some real steam. He can do some stuff.
So we got another Jalen from Texas. Here we go.
So it's a real push here. It's a real push here, and it's going to be a spring football that if you're an Alabama fan, especially on A-Day, you want to see this thing come to life here. But at the receiver position, man, you've got, you mentioned Mechie there. Bolden's good. Javon Baker's good. I want to see what Christian Leary does, because he's gotten all the talk. But, Cal, we appreciate that call. Going to be a lot of guys on the field here for spring football. I'm ready. I'm pumped up. I'm excited to see it. We appreciate Kyle for that call. We take our next call of the evening. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Roll Tide, Stephen.
Roll Tide to you as well. How you feeling?
I'm good. I hope you're good.
I am well, man. I am fantastic. Our CEO is celebrating his birthday. I'm wearing a smile. You can't beat it.
Tell him happy birthday. Stephen, this is New Jack. I had called on Monday and got interrupted, and I had something planned on Monday that I wanted to say, so I wanted to just call in today and just, go back to the thought that I had on Monday. You were talking to that Chris Franklin, I think, from Philadelphia, the beat writer. I think I can speak for everybody in the Blue Wrench gang. In that 2017 championship, when, it was halftime, I did think about the spring game and how Tua looked in the spring game and how I was just, of course, I'm claiming that I knew it was coming, but I mean, I had the thought, but we didn't put Tua in the Auburn game, and we lost that Auburn game, and so I thought they're not going to sideline Jalen. He's this Texas quarterback. He's this dual threat. Tua's just a freshman. And then when I saw Tua go into the game, and I think everybody in the audience is going to agree, it was like that glimmer of hope. But immediately I thought of Jalen, and I thought how sour things could go on the sideline. And then the cameras, of course, focused on Jalen. And he was just blown up with sportsmanship like nothing I had ever seen. And so, and he continued that way when it was time for him to come back in and save the game, in the 18 championship in the SEC. He answered the call. And this guy, Jalen Hurts, man, he is what I would want my son to be. He is the highest hopes for all of us, I think. And so that's what I wanted to say on the heels of that, Chris Franklin. Man, I hope Jalen has a team.
Absolutely, New Jack. I really hope Philadelphia, they've committed to him, but I hope they really make this commitment to him and build this team around him, because he's got, like you said, the sportsmanship with the leadership. He's got mechanics. He's got tools. He's got ability to make plays. He just needs a situation where everybody's bought in, everybody's committed to making him a success. And if Jeff Lurie and the entire Eagles organization, if they're committed, they will take that number 6 overall pick and go draft a receiver. I don't care if it's Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, if it's even Jamar Chase. Just take that number 6 pick, go get a receiver, and show Jalen we're committed. You're our guy. Let's roll. But New Jack, we appreciate the call, my man. Absolutely appreciate New Jack for that call, talking about one Jalen Hurts. But quick topic here before we take our break and get Kyle Edwards on the line here. Landon Dickerson, former Alabama offensive lineman. Landon Dickerson, keep your eyes on this young man at Alabama's Pro Day next week, March 23rd. If you can see the picture here, Dr. Matt Ray is helping him bench 315 pounds in a set of overalls. He's benching 315 in some overalls. I mean, Landon Dickerson is looking like first-round pick benching 315 in some overalls. So while we're excited about what Mac Jones can do, Najee Harris can do, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Patrick Surtain, and other players can do in this pro day, watch Landon Dickerson, because I'm going to be looking at his bench press. I'm going to be looking at his broad jump. I'm going to be looking at his 40. If Landon Dickerson at 6'6", 325 can run a sub-5'2", 40, look the heck out. This dude is training. He's putting in the work here. Excited to see what Dickerson will do at Alabama's Pro Day. But we take a break right now. You guys continue to like us on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up. Turn the notifications on. Hit that subscribe button so you can get all the Alabama football coverage. We'll be taking phone calls back in the next 10 minutes. But upon our return, we will talk with former Alabama quarterback Kyle Edwards right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're rolling back in from the break into the action on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news on YouTube. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we make it on over right now to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up a good friend of mine, former Alabama quarterback Kyle Edwards. Played from 2016 to 2018, was a student assistant on the team in 2019, helping out Steve Sarkisian with those quarterbacks. I've been trying to get this rock star on the show for quite some time. Finally got the big guns in the building. Kyle, what's happening, man?
Steven, how you doing?
Doing outstanding. We got Kyle Edwards here on the phone lines. If you're just listening to the show, former Crimson Tide quarterback, played from 2016 to 18, student assistant in 2019, a two-time SEC champion 2016 and 18, was on that national championship team in the 2017 season. Kyle, so you look at this quarterback race here for Alabama coming up, in this upcoming season, starting off in spring football. You've got Bryce Young, Paul Tyson, and Jalen Milroe. But just pulling Milroe out for a minute and focusing on Tyson and Young, two guys that bring a lot of talent, a lot of big firepower to the table. Starting off with Young, here's the guy that's kind of the box office favorite, if you will. If you post the fans, if you go to the fans, they're going, it's Bryce Young time. It's Bryce Young season. He's the guy. He's the one. It is his moment to be the starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide. I remember after the title game when Mac Jones gave the ball to Bryce Young, people went, here's the passing of the torch. Here's the passing of the baton. Mac is giving this thing to Bryce. When you break down Young here for just a moment, what are kind of the qualities that he exudes or that he displays that would make you secure in him being potentially the starting quarterback for Alabama? What does Young bring in that aspect in your mind?
Well, I mean, in terms of, the passing of the torch and, how some people perceive the competition to be in his favor, I mean, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean? Bryce Young is a kid who possesses just an insane amount of natural throwing ability. Steven, he's probably got more natural throwing ability than anybody coming out of high school in the last 5 years. And from a technical standpoint, I mean, everything he does is just effortless. And you watch the games that he was in, and it's clear to see that the football agrees with what his right arm is doing. And, there's never a moment where he looks flustered. He's calm, cool, collected. That attitude is much like that of Jalen Hurts. And so, I mean, if that was all it took to play quarterback in the SEC, that would be great, right? But as we know, there's some other aspects that come into play. But fortunately for Bryce Young, he's been in the program long enough and had the opportunity to learn, grow, and develop not only under great coaches, but a great mentor in Mac Jones. And I kind of make the analogy to, a draft a guy in the first round in the NFL, right? And then you sign a savvy veteran who's going to kind of educate them on here's how we prepare, here's how we practice, and here's what it takes to be a champion. And luckily for Bryce Young, he not only had, a great mentor and a great example, but probably a great friend in the end. And so I think both of those guys, Bryce and Paul, were fortunate enough to have that advantage. But, yeah, I think Bryce Young is just one of the best natural throwers that I've ever seen, Steven.
So when you go from that, Kyle, to Paul Tyson, and for a lot of people it's, Paul's good, but he's Bear Bryant's great-grandson. Paul's good, but, doesn't have the type of cachet, doesn't have the appeal, doesn't have the ability, doesn't possess the things that Bryce Young has. And when people bring up, well, Paul Tyson could be the quarterback, it's immediately hit with, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't think about that, he's not Bryce Young. But you were on campus 2019, Paul Tyson's freshman year. You've been around Paul, you've observed Paul, and he is really, really pushing throughout this fourth quarter program to prove himself and show the world that, hey, I am the real deal. When you look at Paul, What has caused him, in your mind, to have pushed himself as he's doing right now?
Well, I mean, when you look at Paul, it's interesting because he's an older guy now at this point. He's been in the program for a while, and what happens with time, though, Stephen, is we tend to forget certain things, and I think a lot of people have forgotten that Paul Tyson was a highly recruited, highly touted quarterback coming out of high school. Obviously, everybody knows the pedigree that Paul had, but what people don't understand about Paul is, he's a competitor. He's hungry. It's interesting when you look at guys like Paul, because coming out of high school, right, he had all the offers, the rankings, and it's interesting because at that point in time, he hadn't really grown into his body yet. Puberty and kinesthetic awareness take time, and at this present junction, Paul's now a full-grown man, and in my opinion, he moves just enough to be dangerous in the SEC. In terms of athletic ability, and at Alabama, like we've seen, that's really all you need to be in terms of mobility. So Paul is now sequencing up everything together, and when you have the physical side and the mental side marrying up, what you see is a very solid quarterback start to impose his will on the defense, start to move the team down the field. And so it's been very interesting from my vantage point to see Paul, not only mature off the field, but just on the field. Everything, started clicking for him as the weeks and days went on. And certainly, in Paul's case, it's an advantage that he's been there longer because he's been exposed to just more information, more diverse opinions from different coordinators and quarterback coaches that he was around. So I certainly think each guy has something that the other would wish was in their corner. But that's the interesting part about how things happen in Alabama is that, we can all pick who we think is going to be the guy going into spring ball. But at the end of the day, how you perform in fourth quarter, how you lead the team, and then what you do in the spring is going to be a competition. And everything is going to be counted. And, there's not somebody's name on the board that this is going to be our guy. It's earned. So whether it's Bryce Young or Paul Tyson or, Jalen Milroe, it's going to be earned. And I think everybody at this point understands that those guys know what they're doing up there. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting, Stephen.
If you're just tuning into the show on a Wednesday, we got Kyle Edwards on the line here. In my own words, former Alabama quarterback, played from 2016 to 18, was a student assistant helping quarterbacks in the 2019 season. Now, Kyle, at Alabama, playing quarterback is 90% mental, 10% physical. And I remember you were one of the first people I spoke with in talking about Mac Jones from last season, and you were saying he's going to be the guy, watch it happen, watch what this guy's going to do, and come to find out he had just a scintillating season this past season. Mac Jones did. When you look at Mac and you look at Paul in terms of their preparation, in terms of the film preparation, the pre-snap, post-snap reads, checking into the right plays, the right formations, the right scheme, the right packages, what are some of the similarities that you are seeing in just the preparation to be the starting quarterback between Mac and Paul, if there are any similarities there?
Yeah, and I think the first part of what you said, Stephen, is a crucial point, right? Like it's 90% physical, 90% mental, 10% physical. And there's a lot of things that operationally, not just at Alabama, but at big-time programs, and especially in the NFL, that you have to do pre-snap. And so when you've got weapons all over the field, you tend to add more schemes to get the ball in those guys' hands. And so that adds and enhances what a quarterback has to be prepared for on any given day. And so some of the similarities between Paul and Mac, I think, really were soaked up by Paul. I think Mac set the standard in terms of note-taking in the meeting room, individual film study, applying it to drill work on the field. And then I think the last aspect of that is the leadership that I know for a fact Bryce and Paul have taken from Mac in that, in fourth quarter programs, which I've heard you talk about a couple times already, or off-season workouts, or, the summer conditioning program and what used to be fall camp or two-a-days. All those things matter in terms of winning over your teammates and letting everybody know that you're a guy that can be trusted. And, in terms of, since we're just speaking on Paul, I think Paul does a great job of all those things off the field. And I think that that's ultimately going to culminate a decision to where, where do people feel in terms of who needs to be their guy, who needs to be their leader in the huddle. Because a lot of these things are really not in the coach's hands. It's pretty obvious who is the starter or who has command of the team when they're leading, those other 10 guys on and off the field. And so I think the leadership aspect that Paul possesses, just from having been there, first of all, and second of all, who he is and how he was raised, is going to be crucial. And I see those similarities already, Stephen.
Now, Kyle, during your time as a player at Alabama, playing quarterback, and the quarterbacks that you've seen become starters for this program, was there ever a moment in spring ball, was there ever a moment in summer workouts or fall camp where you saw just a quarterback really take over and everybody stops and goes, okay, this is the guy? Or everybody had kind of an internal feeling of, this is the guy right here. Was there ever one of those moments when you played, and how did those moments come about?
Well, it's very interesting when it happens. I think everybody's obviously heard different stories of guys competing in the NFL, competing in the NBA. It's this very interesting agreement that kind of everybody subliminally makes where, it's not necessarily spoken out loud. It's more of a feeling, and it kind of translates to your actions less than your words. And so, one of the first guys that I was around who did the things that you're describing was Jalen Hurts. I think in every workout that we did, I don't have the statistics on it, but I feel like he was the first guy in everything, whether it be the first in line, the first to finish, the guy who lifted the most weight. He was just an incredible leader in that aspect. And so going into that 17 season, there was no doubt who our leader was. And I think his leadership ability going into the following season made it really tricky for a guy like Tua to push through. But as Tua started to mature, he started to move up in, the sprinting lines and the meeting lines. And, you could see his off-the-field character starting to show and his personality starting to show more and more. And he started to take over. And then, when everybody got the sense that Tua was going to get an opportunity to play in the NFL, and that meant there was an open quarterback spot the next year, you could start to see Mac kind of build off the momentum from that previous year that he had developed when he got a chance to, play in a couple games and really prove himself as not just the quarterback at that point, but the leader. And so it's just this gradual transition where you start to feel the turning of the tide. And so it's obviously something I'm grateful to have been around and learned from. But when you have that on your team, you're going to have an exceptional football team, Stephen. And so I think that having a couple leaders like that, and hopefully some future ones out of this next competition, is ultimately going to, propel the Alabama dynasty forward.
Great quarterback competition on our hands here, folks. Spring practice starts next week, next Friday. We're joined by Kyle Edwards, former Alabama quarterback, played from 2016 to 18, student assistant helping out with quarterbacks in 2019, talking Bryce Young, Paul Tyson, the quarterback conversation that everybody wants to have a voice in. Kyle, so happy that we could be able to bring you on the show. Appreciate the knowledge, the insight, the touch that you brought to us, man. Stay safe, man. Take care of yourself. Be good.
Thanks, Steven. You too. Roll Tide, guys.
Absolutely. That was Kyle Edwards, their former Crimson Tide quarterback, two-time SEC champion 2016 and 18, national champion in the 2017 season. He played with Tua, Mac, Talia, Paul. I mean, man, Kyle Edwards was around some big time, was around some really good quarterbacks, but happy to have him on the show to talk about the competition for this spring. But we take a break right now, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your questions. Continue to like the show up, give a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on so that way we can continue hitting you with the Bama coverage. We come back with a dialogue with you, the fans, after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. do at the start of the fourth quarter? We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back into the action here, folks, on the number one ticket for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody for hitting that thumbs up, giving a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications all the way on so we can continue hooking you up with Bama football news. Also, if you want to become a member to TDA on YouTube, you check out the link there in the chat line, also in the description, and that link will show you step by step on how to become a member to the YouTube channel. That daily super chat go, $75 daily super chat go. Appreciate you guys for helping us out as our man Jimmy the Money Man Clay, Jimmy the Batman Clay, with that $25 donation, the super chats. Appreciate Jimmy Clay hopping on in here doing his thing. Gotta also remind you guys of mybookie.ag. Latest sponsor to TDA, mybookie.ag. You feel lucky, you feel fortunate, you feel like you got the skills to pay the bills, you got the swag, you got the sauce, the drip, and wagering on these Alabama football games. You check out our guys at mybookie.ag. You make the right play, sign up today, and when you do, use the promo code TDAlabama to get your deposit matched halfway all the way up to $1,000. You can't beat it. Can't beat it. You cannot beat it. Check out our guys, mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Using the promo code TD, Alabama. But we jump back to the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there, 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Stephen, it's Spencer Reevely. How you doing tonight, sir?
Spencer, doing fantastic, man. Doing well. Can't complain. How are you?
Just fine. Did you get your homework done?
You know what? God, that's a good question. You know what? I did not. I did not.
You did not. That's okay. I did mine, and I got.
Now I feel 100% bad.
To be. Anyway, it's to all my brothers and sisters out there who are SEC scholars who's been firing my phone up over Mac Jones making Tim Tebow look like he smacked his mama on it. Are they the best team last year to ever play the game? I did my homework, and I come up with 4 teams, in my opinion, who could have won all SEC schedule and been undefeated and still won the championship. And I'm just going to break it down in the dates. The 2009 Alabama team could have played all SEC, won it, and won a championship. The 1992 Alabama team could have done the same. The 1980 Georgia team definitely could have done the same. The 1971 Nebraska team could have done the same. And out of these 4, there's only 2 teams that I think if they played head-to-head this weekend could probably beat them. What do you think?
That's a dynamic 4 there. That's a dynamic 4 right there. That's a dynamic four. I mean, you got the 09 Bama defense, who had the 09 Bama team, who had the defense. You also have the run game there of Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson. You had Julio Jones out there too. The 92 defense, who basically set the standard for, with the 92 team, who set the standard for defense with Copeland and Curry, Langham and Teague. Though, of course, they had a running game with Derek Lassick back there, and Jay Barker just keep the car on the road. The 1980 Georgia team, of course, with Herschel Walker, absolutely. And then 71, Nebraska was a madhouse. So that's a dynamite list right there, Spencer. I can't disagree with that.
All right. Well, I just thought I'd help you out with your homework there, sir. You have a good night and happy birthday to TDA.
Appreciate that, Spencer Revley, our own Spencer Revley calling in. We appreciate that call right there, helping us out on the show. Man, I feel bad, John. I feel really bad. Did not get that home. You know what? Now I feel like I'm back in elementary school where I know I didn't do my homework and my mother's staring at me about to get a belt and kill me. Well, when my mom gets the belt and kill me, then my grandmother says, "Oh, you didn't do that homework? Where that switch at?" Now I feel like I'm getting beat by my mother and my grandmother at the same time. Man, I don't even want to relive that. Man, that's crazy. I don't want to relive that no more. Let's flashback. Let's bring us back to where we are right here on the show. Appreciate Spencer for that call. 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. Topic right here. We're going to get into Alabama men's basketball. Coach Nate Oates and the men's basketball team traveling to Nashville, Tennessee for the SEC tournament coming up this week, either this week or next week. I know they're traveling this week for the tournament, and I believe their first game is Saturday against Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken. But the SEC had its basketball honors to come out, and Alabama took home some hardware there. Nate Oates was the SEC Coach of the Year. Congratulations to Coach Oates on getting the SEC Coach of the Year. Herbert Jones took home a litany of awards. Herbert Jones, SEC Defensive Player of the Year, SEC Player of the Year, First Team All-SEC, SEC All-Defensive Team. I mean, Herb Jones just racked all the way up. Then you got John Petty, who made First Team All-SEC by the league's coaches. And then you have Joshua Primo, who made the All-SEC freshman team by the league's coaches. So Alabama men's basketball taking home some hardware for its strong play in the regular season, finishing that up with 21 wins. Hopefully Alabama can win the SEC tournament, get into the national tournament. I've already said my piece. Get me to the Sweet 16. That's all I want, baby. Sweet 16. We get further than that. You put me on my Bama shirt, put me in my Bama gear. You dig a hole in the backyard. You bury me right there, and I will sweetly go into being buried mode in the backyard. But Alabama men's basketball having a good, strong season, and kudos to those individuals earning those accolades. Before we take our break right now, got to shout out the newest member to TDA on YouTube, David Wright. We got David Wright, newest member to TDA on YouTube, David Wright. Appreciate the support right there coming from him as he's becoming the latest member here to YouTube. If you want to be a member to TDA on YouTube, you check out the link in the chat line, also in the description. It will take you step by step on how to be a member. Also, be sure to hit that thumbs up, give us a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on. We're giving you the hookup on Bama football. We take our break right now. Upon our return, we touch on the defensive line. We break down the defensive line for the Crimson Tide entering spring ball. We'll talk up that position after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
Back in from the break here, folks, on the hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody tuning into the show on today. And gotta shout out my man Waylon again, weighing another $9.99 into the Super Chats, helping us out here for TDA donation. They're coming from our own Waylon Coburn. As always, Tide Nation, that $75 daily Super Chat goal, $75 daily goal there. You guys have been great helping us out here, showing that love, showing that support here to Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Got to remind you, though, of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans, for all of you still overjoyed by the Tide's national championship, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. Grab you 18 of them things, folk, t-shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Those designs, which features all 18 championship years on the back of those shirts. You head over to TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. Do that today and go to the Championship Collections tab and get you that merch today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But spring ball coming in next week, so we will continue our thesis, our documentation, our analyzation, or our analysis and breakdown of each positional unit. And right now we go to the defensive line, the big guys up front, coached by one Freddie Roach. And defensive line this season, starting off the spring, who's going to be some of the guys that step up? Who will be some of the guys that will make plays, the guys that will emerge, the guys that will be impactful leaders here on this defense? Will it be, one alpha male pass rusher? Will it be pass rusher by committee? I mean, these are all questions that will be answered started off here in spring football. But first and foremost, you look at Fidarian Mathis and LeBron Ray. Both of these two had the opportunity to pursue the NFL draft. Both guys said, no, we're coming back for another season. So here are your two leaders. Here are your two veterans on that front along the defensive line. Fidarian Mathis had a good year last year, has a chance to be even better this upcoming season. LeBron Ray, he came in as a 5-star in 2017 from James Clemens High School in Madison, Alabama. And unfortunately, he's been hit with injury after injury after injury, cannot quite seem to stay healthy. But hopefully this season, he can put together, or this upcoming season, he can put together a full year healthy on tape to show off his draft status, and that full year healthy on tape will start off by a good performance here in spring football. So you got two guys in Mathis and Ray. They've got pass rush ability. They can stuff the run. They can affect the quarterback. They can create havoc in the backfield. They can create turnovers. Big leaders here on the defensive line to help out one Freddie Roach there as the position coach. Now, behind those two, you've got 3 players entering their 3rd season with the Tide and discussing DJ Dale, Byron Young, and Justin Aboigbe. All 3 of these young men came in that 2019 signing class. Dale from here in Birmingham, Aboigbe from Georgia, and Young from Mississippi. So all 3 of these guys came in the same class. They all bring different talents. Now, DJ Dale, not the pass rusher, but can stop the run. Now, can he be faster? Can he get better? Can he rebound from a rough season in 2020, coming back from the knee issue that he suffered in 2019? Remains to be seen. When you look at Justin Aboigbe, he's kind of a tweener, if you will. He can stop the run, but he can also affect the quarterback. He can also get his hands up in the air, bat balls down, and create interceptions. We saw that last season against Georgia. Now, Byron Young, to me, is the pass rusher of the 3. He gets after the quarterback. He's Mr. Nasty Time. He's the guy that can rip, bend, swim, make those plays in the opposing team's backfield. So I want to see a jump, a growth, a build in his development. But all 3 guys came in the same class, all 3 guys entering their 3rd season with the program. They have some leadership, they have some experience. We will see, what they can do. But the guy that I'm going to have my eye on right now, and the guy that is tearing it up in the 4th quarter program, and the one young guy that I feel like is going to have a massive say in terms of playing time, Big Tim Smith. I've been hearing so much about him. Big, powerful, physical, slippery, rips, massive, creating a bunch of havoc in the offseason program. I mean, he's a clear mixture of Christian Barmore and Quinnen Williams. Clear mixture, clean mixture. That is Tim Smith. And I mean, if you watch his high school tape in Sebastian River down there in Florida, I mean, this guy was shedding double teams, forcing fumbles, yanking quarterbacks to the ground, dragging running backs to the ground, just making huge play after play after play after play in high school. And he's brought that same ability here to the Crimson Tide. And there were moments last season where when Alabama put him on the field in different situations, he made plays. He made an impact. He was marquee. And so far, he's already creating this wave here. He's already creating this attention here in the offseason program. And to me, this is a guy that is going to have a lot of playing time. And not just that, if DJ Dale don't watch it, this could be the guy that will take his spot. If Dale don't watch it, this will be the guy, Big Tim Smith, Big 50, this will be the guy that will take Dale's spot, because coming from sources I've spoken with in this 4th quarter program, Tim Smith ain't playing around. He is turning some serious heads in this program on this defensive line. Coach Saban is at times loyal to a fault where his older guys are concerned. He wants to see his older, grizzled veterans get their time, get their shine, get their action before he graduates them on to pro football or other endeavors. But if there was one young buck, if there was one young blood, if there was one young kid that can take the food out the mouths and off the table of these grizzled veterans, it would be Tim Smith. He's the one guy that can take the food right out their plate, because he's ready to ball. He's ready to ball right now. And then not to mention, you still have guys like Jamil Burrows who's trying to get action. You still have Stephon Wynn, of whom, I mean, he's been here forever. You still have Stephon Wynn trying to get action. You still have, other players on this front trying to get action. But excited to see what Fedarian Mathis does being back, what LeBron Ray does being back. Can he get a full year healthy? Can U.S. fans, and I myself in the media, can we get a full year of LeBron Ray healthy? That's the plea that we're talking about right now. And then the 3 guys that are entering their 3rd year, Dale, Aboigbe, Byron Young. Which one can give Bama the most consistency in spring football. That's a big deal. And then last but not least, Tim Smith, keep your eyes on Big 50 on this defensive line as he intends to make some serious headway here along with a couple of other guys. But folks, spring practice gearing up next week. I'm amped up for it. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, and material on your Crimson Tide. You can do this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you've got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. Got you locked and loaded right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Friday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be in the description. Also, if you want to get the print magazine, the print edition of TDA that's coming soon, remember you go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, you become a subscriber. Go on to touchdownalabama.com, click join, become a subscriber so that you can get that print edition of the magazine. Also, you can get you that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of weownthefourthquarter.com. That's weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. Gotta shout out Jimmy Clay one more time. That $25 donation coming from Jimmy, the Money Man Clay, and also weighing in again that $9.99 Super Chat donation. We have reached the daily goal of $75. Give yourselves a hand. Todd Nation, you guys incredible. Awesome, phenomenal, fantastic. Y'all money in the bag. Y'all are doing what it do. And I ain't talking about Mountain Dew. Y'all are actually, for real, doing what it do here. As the passionate fans, as the best fans in college football, you guys, the Alabama Nation, the Crimson Tide faithful. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives, appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, the fun thing, but the legitimate thing to not be bored. Be sure to get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, happy birthday to our own CEO, Biddy Bias III. Enjoy it, man. Until next time, folks, spinning my own words.